Hey, hey, g'day, Will. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you, Pigsy?
Yeah, really good. Thanks for asking. Friday morning, episode number 24 of the PlayStation Collectors podcast.
Is it 24? We're up to 24
Yeah,
now?
24.
Oh,
I had
shit,
23 and I realized that was Sunday's show, so I changed it.
Wait, what?
I originally posted it as 23, but that was Sunday's show, so I had to update it.
Well, you know, mistakes will be made. We do, like I said, man, we need interns. If anybody would like to intern, the pay is nothing. Experience, probably even less. But yeah, you get to do shit for us.
Feel free to reach out. So today, well, I'm excited for today's episode. Who have we got on today?
Today we have Sandeep Raj. Am I saying his last name right? Raj?
I believe so.
Okay, well he can correct. Yeah, he's saying yes. So yeah, Sandeep Raj he's got a book coming out. We actually got a real author on the show. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Not just a normal book, PlayStation 3 book, which I'm really excited to talk about. So please welcome Sandeep onto the show, guys. G'day, Sandeep. How's it going?
Thanks a lot for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
And yep, you're right. It's Rai, R-A-I.
All right, okay. I maybe it was Ray, like rain, but no, Rai. I got it right. All right, cool. Sandeep, where are you hailing from?
London, UK.
Oh, you're in the big city.
So we've got all three time zones, 3 different time zones completely here.
Yes. Yeah, we're covering the whole world at the moment.
Yeah, luckily when daylight savings times happened, it kind of screwed us up a while back, and we posted the wrong times and we started late. But I think we're on track now. It's good to know.
So I appreciate you coming on at this late time. I believe it's midnight over in London at the moment.
Yes, it is. It is. But no, excited to be here. Really glad you reached out because it's very cool to be able to talk about this book and everything. So thanks a lot for having me.
Exactly. When I first heard about this book, honestly, I got so excited. I'm not a book person. I sell books, but I don't actually own any. But it was the first book that I want this on my shelf.
Nice.
This is actually your second book, is it correct?
Well, so I originally started off, I did 3 books about the Vita, smaller books. And then last year I did a Kickstarter and released a book called Vita Means Life, which was a kind of a compilation of the 3 other books, with all covering the whole history of the Vita, with interviews with developers and retrospectives on the games. And then after I'd completed that, I was thinking about what to do next. And then I was considering first PSP, where they're doing like a whole book on the history of the PSP, but something about the PS3 just kind of spoke to me a bit more. I think it's just such an interesting period in PlayStation's history. You know, the first time when they things were not going perfectly for them. You know, they had Xbox killing it, Nintendo killing it. They had the PlayStation hack. It was just so many things that didn't go well, but still the PS3 was just an awesome system. And I thought this is the right console for the book.
And then it's also the right age. It's hitting that. I keep saying it's hitting that golden, perfect period of nostalgia where the kids who grew up with it now are grown ass men and women. They got money in their pockets and they're buying this shit up again. So yeah, it's perfect time for that book. Excuse me.
Exactly. It's I mean, for me, I love the PS3. I was thinking about it a few days ago. It was the first console that I bought new. Otherwise, I'd always bought something secondhand, like the PS2 I'd bought secondhand, Dreamcast secondhand. But by PS3, I had a job, I had money coming in, and I bought it new, which is like, it's got a lot of good memories for me.
Especially if you got the backwards compatible one.
Yes, I did. Yeah. That was when I bought it. When they announced they were getting rid of backwards compatibility, I thought, no, got to buy it. I need it right now. Not losing that feature.
It was what, $500 on release, right? Did you?
It was $600. In the UK, it was £450, I think, or £475, something like that. But by the time I got it, it was still, I think, £475. But it came with 2 games and 2 controllers and 2 Blu-rays as well.
Oh shit! That was my next question. When did you pay full price for the Fatty when you got it? Did you still have your original Fat Boy?
I do. It's actually, I think it's in one of these cupboards down here, but it doesn't work anymore. It got the yellow
Yellow?
light of death, or whichever blue light of death, whichever one it was. It just doesn't work. But I haven't gotten rid of it. I think one day when I'm brave enough, I'll open it up and try and fix it.
You can fix it with the thermo paste, but unfortunately, like it'll run for another 6 hours, and then you'll have to replace it again.
Oh man, okay.
There's all sorts of tricks. I've heard that you could take right now all the modders are going nuts, but if you could take a hair dryer, you put it on hot and you blow that thing in there hot enough and you let it
I did see that, yeah.
Yeah, you get another hour, but
yeah.
You're gonna...
It's a shame. It's a shame. But I've got a PS2 still, so it's not a big deal. But it is a shame not to have that working.
I was gonna say that, like, as good as the backwards compatible is, I use the super slim PS3 and a PS2 to play all my games because that's just it's better to play them like that.
Oh no, man!
Funnily enough, I bought a new super slim last week. My slim, which is kind of my go-to PS3, stopped reading discs. And it's like, it just, whatever I did, it just wouldn't work. So it's like, okay, just buy a new one. It's like, I need to be able to play these discs. I'm going to write about them. So just bought a super slim, which I haven't actually opened and tried yet.
I actually prefer the super slim for a few things. I think it's a fast console. It's really quiet. It's small and it doesn't have many moving components. So you can open it without being on. I've had one super slim. I bought the Last of Us pack in 2013. Nice. I've still got it. So it's going strong for 9 years, and I've got well over 2,000 hours into that console. Not an issue. So
awesome. Okay, that's good to know.
Super slim for me.
Oh no, man, it's slim for me. I've had a couple fat boys come and go through my collection, but when I left PS2 collecting behind, it didn't make much sense to hold on to it because the only reason to have a backwards compatible fat boy is if you're going to play PS2 games. Of course, all of them will play PS1 games, but no, I could never with the super slim. I could never get over that the sliding door. Nah, man, I want to put my stuff in, have it going nice and smooth. But hey, that's just me. But anyway, enough about me. Tell us about your collection, Sandeep. What are you primarily collecting for right now? Is it the PS3? Are you still chasing PS3 games, PS4, PS5?
So Vita is kind of my main system when it comes to collecting. I've got, actually, I don't know what the final count is. It's sometimes scary to think about how many Vita games I've got, just because you try and think, then it's like, God, how much I've spent on that. But I've got at least 400, 500 Vita games. More recently, because of the book, I've been buying a lot of PS3 games as well, just because to be able to write about them, I need to be able to go back and play them. And the PSN store is just missing so many games. It's you go to it, and even because my Slim doesn't read discs anymore, I wanted to go and just buy Killzone 3 and Resistance 3 so I could just play them. And they aren't even on the store anymore. So, which again pushed me to, I had to get a Super Slim so I could play them. But yeah, I've been buying a lot of PS3 games recently. Been getting really into Move as well, which is actually really good. I didn't get into Move that much when it was out before, but I've been really impressed with it. So I've been just picking up pretty much anything that's Move compatible.
I tried to Move. I just get tired. I'm too old for that shit anymore.
It's very sensitive. I got the gun, the aim, the big gun thing, and so using that with Killzone 3, very very sensitive. But it's fun to be able to do it as well. And the kids were loving watching me doing it.
I recommend Kung Fu Rider.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's one where you're on like an office chair in Japan using the Move controller, and you've got to sort of jump side to side and jump over things, and it's heaps of fun.
Nice. All right, I'll check it out. Cool.
If we're recommending games, grab House of the Dead. What the hell's the rest of the title? But the House of the Dead one, it's really fun. The game is just hilarious.
Overkill.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, but make the little ones leave the room.
Yeah. I think I've got that ordered already. Actually, it should be coming in a couple of days.
Yeah, it's too bad about light guns going away with the onset of LCD and LED and plasma. But that's the future. We move on.
Yeah. But no, I've been really impressed with Move, the way how it really replicates what you do. Like even when you're playing like the table tennis game on sports. You twist your hand, and it's like it'll register as kind of a spin shot. It's amazing. It was so impressive. But I think like most people, didn't give it enough of a chance back when it came out. But really impressed with it now.
I think unfortunately people were just over Connect and the Wii
Yeah.
and didn't even want to get into the technology that the PS3 had.
Yeah, exactly.
Did,
And there were
did,
so many games as well. It's like when you've got Uncharted 2, Infamous 2, this extra add-on just didn't seem worth it because there were so many other things to play already.
Exactly.
did the Kinect predate the Move?
No. So I think Move came out so Natal, as it was announced, and Move were both announced at the same time, same E3. But then Move came out the next year, and I think Kinect came out a year and a bit later. So Move did come out first, but I think I mean neither did that well in the end. But
Yeah.
it did come out first.
Yeah,
I can definitely think of more Kinect games than Move games, though. Xbox really tried to shove the Kinect down people's throat.
Yeah. They did, and they got a lot of positive press about it. So as part of this book, going back through all the history of it, everyone was saying like, oh, Microsoft won E3 2009 because of Natal, and it's like you kind of read these things now, think, if only you guys knew what actually happened. It's didn't quite work out like that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the PS3 won out over the Xbox. Well, numbers anyway, and
yeah.
But I don't know, Xbox backwards compatibility. I got to be jealous of it. PlayStation, I think, really dropped the ball with the PS5. They should have gone all the way. Well, they're trying to go all the way back, but
yeah,
you gotta. I want to take my PS2 disc and pop it to the PS5. That would be tits. But
exactly, or at least have all the PS3 games on PS Plus. Like again, the Killzone 2, Resistance 1 and 2. Where are they? It just it doesn't make sense, that kind of approach they're taking, where we're missing out on so many games.
Those are those
exclusives, like
those are first party games, right?
Yeah, exactly. How are they not on Plus? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, well, hopefully they just keep rolling them out, and of course we have the eventual demise of the PlayStation 3 store, PSN store. I mean, they already make it hard as balls to buy anything on there, but as soon as they figure out how to download the games onto a PS5 instead of streaming them to play, they're going to close up that store, and it's an end of an era.
Yeah, true. At least they've got physical. We've got physical games.
Yeah,
that's one of the big advantages of at least that generation. Most games are physical, whereas now, there's so many games digital that we probably never will be able to own physically, which makes which would make them kind of lost forever when they get shut down.
Unfortunately, Sandeep, with PS3 moving onwards, there will be a lot of games that you will put in, but they're not going to work unless you have that day one patch.
True.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
I've spoken in the past that I believe in the future greatest hits and platinum games are going to be really collectible because people are going to realize that version is going to be the version that's playable. It's got all the patches, it's got all the DLC, it's a working version of the game. So I'm fearful for like 20 years down the line that so many of these games are just going to be almost unplayable.
Yeah, true. I just hate the banner on the box. I just like the regular version of the games without the greatest hits on them.
Oh, you guys got that. You guys got that. The gray case, the gray or silver case. That's a UK thing, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it. Was it platinum? I think they said instead of greatest hits. Yeah, that's it. Platinum. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't own any, but a double pack's a little bit different.
Yeah, nice.
Oh, and a Slippy. Don't forget the Slippy, Figsy. But no, we got a red. Was it red? A red stripe across the top. Yeah, it's at least the case stayed the same. But what other colors are there? Oh, the red. Well, we got a red case too. No,
there's a few interesting ones in Asia. So there's like 4 or 5 different ones. They have the best of. Japan have got like 3 or 4 different types. There's a yellow case. There's a red and white case. It's really interesting to see all the different types. I know there's a collector out there who was trying to get 1 copy of every variant of God of War 3, and it was like 16 different like greatest hits versions throughout the world. Brazil have got their own favorites, which is, if you haven't seen it, the gold set, and it actually looks absolutely incredible together. There's like 60 of them. Absolutely amazing.
Nice, cool. I haven't seen that.
I'm not a fan of the Brazilian games. I'll be honest. But I've had one Brazilian game in my collection, and it was an Xbox game. I just found it. I got it because I thought it was novel. I got rid of that thing as fast as I could. But I'm an anti-Xbox. Anyway, I'm not anti-Xbox. It's true. I'm a fanboy. I'm a PlayStation fanboy. But tell us more about the book, Sandeep. When's it coming out? When's that thing dropping?
So I've put a tentative sort of release date of June, which is very, very conservative. So more than half of the book is already written. And so I'm just kind of giving myself time because obviously I need to write it, and then it'll go through editing, and then it'll go through my designer as well. But I put a June date. It's kind of, that's when I'll be sending it out to people. But in terms of what the book is, so it's about the history of the PS3. So I kind of break the book into 3 sections. The first one covering the full history of the PS3 from its announcement, or well, pre-announcement, all the way to kind of the end of life and everything that happened in between, and then interviews with some kind of people in the industry or developers, and then retrospectives on the kind of biggest games. So detailed retrospectives, thinking of big games like Uncharted, Dead Space, or something, and just kind of deep diving into the history of those games and the studios that made them.
Where is? I know you got a Kickstarter. Is it GoFundMe or is it Kickstarter?
Kickstarter. You
got a Kickstarter, so they're all those people are getting the book. All the people that chipped in.
Yeah.
Where can the average Joe go and get a copy of this thing?
So when it's done, or when it's close to being done, I'll put it on my Etsy store as well. So once the Kickstarter campaign is done, then it's basically just up to me to just get it done, get the book finished, and then closer to when it's ready to be shipped out, then I'll put it in my Etsy store. But for now, it's just on the Kickstarter for at least another 6 months, or probably 5 months or so.
So for everyone listening in, the Kickstarter link will be in the description of this video.
Cool,
and if you're watching in the future, the Etsy store link will be in the description as well. So be sure to check that out.
What's the price tag going to be on this thing?
So £27 for the physical copy, and £10 for the PDF.
I'm gonna grab a physical. Thank God the U.S. dollar is stronger than the pound at the moment. No offense to your king and country, but
no, it's probably a good thing, I think, because most of the people who have bought my books previously are from the US, and so I know even for the last Kickstarter campaign with postage, it's really expensive to ship internationally. So I think the collapse in the pound has probably helped a little bit for everybody.
It helps when you're exporting, not when you're importing stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
When is the Vita book also currently available on your Etsy store?
No, because I've sold out.
Oh.
And so it's really awkward a little bit, but because I'm just one person, and so it's hard. I can't print just say 50 copies or 100 copies because it's so expensive to get these books printed. And so what I want to do is, once the PS3 campaign is done and I'm getting those books printed, then I'll get more books printed for the Vita one as well. So again, probably about 5 months, it's not going to be available, but when I can, I'm going to get loads more copies printed. So it will be available eventually.
Is the Vita book available in PDF format?
Yes. Yeah. That's available. Yeah. On the Etsy store.
Cool. So I hardback, paperback, both?
Hardback. Only hardback.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Give me I'll show you.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got one? Let's see that fucker.
So this is Vita Means Life. So 440 pages, hardback book.
Beautiful.
And then I actually got the test print for the PS3 book done as well, because I need to just know the weight. So most of the pages are just blank holding pages, but some of it is populated with actual content from that's already been completed.
Oh, nice. So you could teach a college course on those books. Those things you did your homework.
That's kind of what I wanted to for these. These are history books. These are objective look backs. So it's not got my opinion in it.
Oh, okay.
It's hard to kind of completely exclude all bias when you're writing, but it is trying to be objective at what happened and all those big events, rather than kind of make it all about kind of what I think or what anyone thinks about it. It is trying to just be that sort of definitive story, a definitive telling of the PS3 story.
Dude, I'm stoked. I want to get it. Yeah, well, yeah, let me know when it comes out. Or actually, what's the? I hate to keep bugging you about price, but what? How much you got to kick in on Kickstarter to get a copy reserved?
27 for the physical book,
Oh, okay.
and then plus postage.
So it's going to be the same price whether you wait now or later.
Yes, yeah. That's one thing I don't like the idea of. Sales are always good. Obviously I love them when games go on sale, but it just feels sometimes that when you put something on sale, it feels like a little betrayal of the people who bought it at the full price. And so I've always just kept the Vita book at £27. That's kind of the standard price for both books, and which I don't intend to change.
Cool. I took a deep dive on your YouTube channel, and it was I'd say it was about 90% Vita. And I'm sorry, but I skipped past those and I just watched the PS3 ones. I watched you play Dark Souls for a good couple, for about a good hour. I watched you play Dark Souls, and
Nice.
yeah, tell the people about the YouTube channel. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, that's probably how this all really started, I guess. So, I used to be, or I still am, a fan of Colin Moriarty and Greg Miller, Podcast Beyond. And I remember they always used to say, like, if you ever wanted to get into the games industry, just start doing it. Just, start a YouTube channel, just start doing it. And so it was 2013 when the PS TV came out in Japan, and I imported one of those. And I thought, let's just do an unboxing video and kind of impressions video. So put out this kind of maybe 13-minute video, put it on YouTube. And, it got like no views for the first few weeks. And so I thought, it doesn't matter. But then I came back a few months later and suddenly it was like 30,000 views. And I thought, maybe this could be like a thing I could do, So I just started my YouTube channel from there, focused on the Vita. And then that's what led me to the book as well. And, I've branched out. I've done kind of Switch videos, Steam Deck, PS3. So it's kind of whatever I really feel like. I don't feel too kind of boxed into anything, especially now that, we're not getting any more new Vita games. But it's really just kind of when I have time. I think this book is taking up a lot of my time right now. So it's I'm not having enough bandwidth to make new videos. But whenever I can, I'll try.
Hey, it's
2Old4Gaming is the name of your YouTube channel, Sandeep?
Yeah, 2Old4Gaming with 2 and 4 the numbers.
It's funny you say there was no more Vita games coming out. Weren't there a lot of game developers who had dates set up for games and we're never going to see them?
Yeah, it's a shame. It's Sony really kind of pulled the plug out of pulled the rug out of under people when they announced the Vita store closing. Just so many games that we should have got just couldn't come anymore, which is a real shame.
Yeah, I heard that.
Sorry, Will.
Yeah, no, go ahead, man. I've been talking too much. Shut me up.
I know that the factory used every single Vita card. I think the last limited run game had like a really odd number because they used every single cart that was left in the factory.
Yeah. It's such a shame, just pulling the plug out. And there was a market there. It's one of these things where it's like you could understand it if no one was buying it, but especially when it came to the physical games, people were buying them. Probably not enough volume for Sony to care about the money, but yeah, it's such a shame. It annoys me whenever I think about how the Vita was treated.
It was really a collector's system. I feel like by the time Sony pulled the plug, since then there was even more games released than what the entire retail library was. There's more Vita games done by private companies than retail releases, which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because limited run games had about 100 and something, just over 100, I think, releases. East Asia Soft had, I think, about 50 or 60. There was a decent number of these limited print games, which make up like almost half the collection of all Vita games.
Well, you were saying you had over 400. I think a full Vita set's only like 190 games or 220 games or something for a PAL set, which is 400. Obviously, like crazy number compared to that.
For a PAL set, I think it is probably about that. But then for the NTSC, when you include all the limited prints, then it kind of goes up to about 400. But then Japan as well. And so I've only got a few Japanese games, but Japan had a lot more games released. A lot of random games that they got physically over there. So that's where it kind of goes. I think it can go up to about, I think it's around 800 or so, but I can't remember the exact number.
Have you got a full PAL Vita set?
I think I do. Well, no. Let me caveat. I have got all the games, but it may be PAL or NTSC. I wasn't fussed about which one. I just wanted to have the game. So like Persona 4 Golden, I've got the US version because it came out 6 months earlier in the US. So it didn't matter to me which one. I just needed to have the game.
So I actually did the same thing, Sandeep. I finished my PS3 collection in 2019, all set, but I had one version of every game. I didn't really mind if I had an American version or an Australian version. But once I finished my set in 2019, I sort of went, okay, now I want a full Australian set. Thankfully, though, because I already owned the game, I was able to wait till that copy popped up, buy that expensive rare game, and then I was able to sell my copy. So it didn't actually cost me anything. It just took an extra year or so to then complete the Australian set.
Makes sense. Although I wonder, like we were talking before the show started about patches on games, I should probably check if Persona 4 Golden had the patch on it since it came out later in Europe. It may be worth getting just for that.
Interesting. Yeah, you are right, actually.
Yeah.
Just on that, completely off topic here. My friend Andy has been playing this service that people have been doing to bring back the original Xbox service.
Okay.
They've been playing old Xbox games online, like Halo 3 and stuff. Anyway, what's really interesting, and it's only just been discovered, he was telling me they were playing Midtown Madness, and they all had the exact same copy, same case, same disc, but the games are actually different. And the hardware on the discs are actually different. And they didn't know this until 20 years down the line. So the copies that were different weren't actually compatible together, which is really interesting.
Yeah, it is. Wow. Okay.
Some people are
it's like, how many of these games out there, like even for the PS3, like is it the same disc, but is what on the disc the same between the same copies, or is it different? Like how do we know? And until you actually like dive in or dump it on a PC ROM, we're actually not going to know.
Exactly. God, that's very interesting.
I keep my head in the sand as far as these patches, not day one patches not being able to work, if my games are going to work or not. I honestly just don't have time to sit there and stick every goddamn PS3 game I own in my console and hope that does that hold true for the Vita as well with the day one patches?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it may not be day one necessarily, but yeah, a lot of games had that. And so I was sad enough to spend an afternoon putting my Vita putting my carts into my PS TV, downloading all the patches, and having because I've got multiple memory cards. So I'm probably sitting on a fortune of Vita memory cards. But I've got multiple memory cards where I've got the patches and my save and everything installed in one place, basically. All the DLC installed in different cards, depending on the games.
One thing I picked up watching your shows is these memory cards are gonna take a crap someday, or they're gonna fail eventually.
Well, we don't talk about these things. We don't jinx ourselves. It hasn't happened yet, so we just don't talk about it.
Well, and like the PS3 and a lot of other legacy consoles, the only way around that is to pirate it, or to jailbreak it, or whatever the term you want to use is.
It is, and I've got a hacked Vita with a SD card, 400 gig SD card. It's got literally all of my games on it from PSN. I mean, it's hard to argue with that. It's like you may not like piracy or hacking, but when it's not even about, forget piracy, just the functionality of having an SD card with everything compared to a $100, tiny memory card for the Vita. It just makes sense.
And the Vita cards, proprietary, you can't just use a regular run of the mill, but a regular SD card will fit just the same.
No. Have I got my Vita here? I have got it here somewhere. I know I've got it somewhere. All right, forget it. It's somewhere. It's somewhere. So the SD card doesn't go into the Vita card memory slot, but the Vita cart, you get this special kind of, it's called SD2 Vita. You put the SD card into the Vita cart, which goes into the kind of the regular game slot, basically.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because rather than buy my kids video games, I bought them one of these bootleg. It's for for the
DS or 3DS?
The DS, yes.
Yeah. R4
Yeah.
card.
R4 card, yeah. So it's got
Yes.
it's a card. It's a card. If same size as a regular game, but it's got a little slot where you stick in the memory card, like you're saying. Yeah, now they got all the
It's
games.
exactly the same. Exactly the same.
Oh shit! I hope Nintendo doesn't see this. They're rather litigious.
You're gonna cease and desist letter.
Oh man! All right, guys, give me a few minutes. I'm gonna run out. I'll be right back.
Okay.
If you had 31 minutes on the timer, you won today. That's interesting about the PS Vita memory cards. They're almost like more valuable than gold when you look at it like that. It's crazy.
It is. I've still got one 64 gig card sealed as well. I thought that's kind of, it's like just in case, just keep it sealed in case I ever really need it. But I mean, it's funny because I bought probably a good 4 or 5 of them. But now that you can hack it and put on an SD card, it's like it's almost doesn't matter. Just, it just makes more sense to have an SD card these days.
It's almost more of a collector's item than
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've had a few sealed ones and I sold them all to collectors. It wasn't people buying them to play. It was people confirming that the seals were all intact and different things that.
I do that as well.
But like, it really is the collector's system, the Vita.
Sorry, say again, Dixie?
It really was the collector's system, the Vita.
Yeah, definitely. And the library, even when it comes to hundreds of games, the library is small enough where it feels possible to collect pretty much all of them. Whereas, PS4, PS3, there's hundreds and hundreds of games where it feels kind of daunting to someone start out, I'm sure. But, for the Vita, because it was a smaller library, it seemed very possible to get everything.
Do you think because of that reason, more people went for a full Vita set? I know a lot of people that collect Vita also go for a full set, where PS3 collectors, not many go for full sets.
I think so. Yeah, I think the size of the library helped. And I think it was just it had a really dedicated following. Obviously, like myself, people just love that system. It was such a great device and so easy to play on, so comfortable, had so many great games. I think it was an awesome system, and I just wish Sony had kind of put a bit more time and effort and money to it to really try and give it a chance.
Oh, I agree with you. Some of the most hardcore friends who are collectors I know are Vita collectors. One friend that comes to mind, you probably know, is Lindsay for the Vita. She's absolutely hardcore, runs Facebook groups and everything, and like one of the most hardcore PlayStation collectors I would know. 100% focused on the Vita, and the collection's absolutely beautiful.
Yes,
I really appreciate Vita collectors.
Yeah, it's awesome. The community is really cool, really cool. It's just like and very positive as well. It's almost one of these things where because we were so kind of knocked down by Sony constantly and just kind of abandoned, it's like you kind of come together as a group despite everything that was going on.
That makes sense too. I was saying that I never really got into the Vita, but I was involved with Vita communities from day one.
Cool.
And you would notice with the PS3 and PS4 and the Vita, the libraries are actually very similar. The JRPGs, for example, would come out on the Vita. It would also get a PS3 release. And then once the PS3 stopped, you'd get a Vita release and also a PS4 release. So a lot of the games for the Vita, Lost Dimension,
Sword Art Online.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they might be very obscure games, but I've then got them on other systems as well, so I can relate to Vita collectors. The Lego packs, perfect example. Like, those Lego packs are the hardest core Vita collectors, but then they're also on the PS3 as well, and they're hardcore collecting packs on the PS3. So it's cool to be able to relate to different things.
Definitely, yeah. Speaking of, I mentioned just collecting something and just kind of getting a perfect version. You just reminded me. So about a week ago, I got Wonderbook, bought it off a guy on eBay. Turned out it was sealed, brand new version, and it was like £7. Nice. It was like just perfect, pristine copy. It's like, this is, it feels bad to open it. I was getting it so I could write about it, but it's like, I don't really want to open it. I should probably just buy another trashy version, but I don't mind kind of having opened and just keep this one in perfect condition.
Why don't you mention that, actually? So those Wonder Books, I wanted them all for a full set, so I'm buying them to put in the wall. And then I had a book of spells or something, and it arrived sealed in the box. So I'm like, I can't open this now, but now I'm still missing one on the shelf, so I had to like rebuy it. So you've got a sealed box, and then you've got the one on the shelf as well.
Yeah. I've done that far too many times.
Yeah, collecting problems.
Yeah, exactly. Like Darkest Dungeon, because I love that game. I bought the collector's edition and then bought the standard version as well, just so I can have the standard version to play and just keep the collector's edition perfect.
I did that with Elden Ring day one.
Nice.
I couldn't wait to play it. No, it was coming out on the Friday, and I'd stayed up all night, and I never buy digital games. But
Okay.
I bought it digitally that night and kept my copy sealed the next day. No regrets.
Nice.
My game of the year. We'll find out if it actually gets game of the year today.
Yeah. Oh, I loved Elden Ring. Amazing. I need to go and download the new Colosseum update.
Yeah. I was actually going to replay it on PS4 to get trophies again and play the DLC. So. I did have one question, just referring to your books. I wrote something down when we were talking. Are you familiar with Pat Contry and his NES and SNES hardcover books?
I'm familiar with him. I can't remember. The name sounds really familiar. I'm just Googling him quickly. But I know the name. I just can't remember what his books were.
Pat does a...
Oh, yeah. Ultimate Library. Ultimate Nintendo Guide. I've seen them before. I haven't actually read them.
Okay. I'll probably won't be able to answer this next question, but I was going to say, are your books sort of in the similar design of his books?
I think... So I'm just kind of double check, because I did see these... I have seen it before. It's probably a different style where it's, like I said, it's more kind of historical in terms of especially the first section, where it's... What I try and do is take big things that happen to the PS3 and cover them in individual chapters. So, like the first chapter is just about the announcement of the PS3 and how that went. And then it kind of goes on to kind of the just before launch and the actual launch in the US, launch in Europe, and then taking kind of big topics kind of one by one, like when PlayStation Home was released, or even kind of more general things that were happening in the industry at that time, like online passes, or kind of the rise of Metacritic influence. So it's kind of taking all these different things that happen and but dedicating a chapter to it, just to kind of give a feel for everything that was going on at the time, and just making sure that there's a spotlight on kind of these big things. And then at the same time, also kind of focusing a bit on what Nintendo and Microsoft are doing, because that's a big part of the PS3's history, that competition. And so what I try and do is, for each year of the PS3's life, there's a kind of a mid-year E3 chapter and an end-of-year chapter. And then I kind of have a meanwhile, which is kind of what was happening with Nintendo and Microsoft at that time as well, and how well they were doing, kind of alongside PS3. So it may be a different take to what Pat was doing, but it's kind of, I just try to take each of the big events, but always having that consistent E3 end of year chapter as well.
I'm actually really excited, Sandeep, honestly.
Nice. I hope you live up to the expectations.
The 6-axis controller was huge, and
yeah,
Sony went all in on that, and then 6 months later they're like, complete backflip, like these games aren't even playable. And...
Yeah. I remember playing Heavenly Sword with it, trying to balance the controller and get the shoot those arrows. I remember at the time I actually thought it worked quite well, and then I tried to do it now recently, and I was trying to take screenshots while balancing the controller. So take screenshots for the book, and it's like, this is not working. It's like I'm trying to tap it on my toe on my computer to take a screenshot while I'm doing it.
Heavenly Sword, though, it's such an underrated game. So many people on the screen at once, and that was a 2007 release, and what a game for its time.
Yeah, definitely. There should have been a sequel, but it seems like just wasn't popular enough, unfortunately.
What I like about the PS3 is the PS3 has withstand time. Blu-rays we're still using. The PS3 came out 20 years ago almost, and we're still using that technology. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. And even like I said, I mean, obviously you guys do this as well. Replaying some of those old games, they still look amazing, some of them. Metal Gear Solid 4, it doesn't play as well as I kind of remember it playing. I think the controls are not perfect, but from a graphics point of view, sound point of view, it's amazing. Still holds up really well today.
100%. I mean, even Metal Gear Solid 5 is on PS3, and it plays pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. No, it
There are
was a
some
really
games,
capable system.
like Skyrim, don't play too well on the PS3, but
Yeah.
I've got 200 hours into it, and I still enjoyed it. That was my first Skyrim experience, so it certainly doesn't ruin the experience or anything.
Isn't that a glitchy mess, and isn't that half of its charm?
Yeah, so what happens is your memory, every time you save the game, it increases your memory file, and it gets to a point where your save file is like 200 megabytes, and the game just cannot hold that, so it's just constantly crashing.
Yeah, I think a lot of third-party developed games had issues like that. Or not that one. That was a Skyrim issue. But I think a lot of games were made for the 360 first, and so like Bayonetta had slowdown on the PS3. I think it was easier to develop for 360, and so the PS3 got a little bit kind of sold short because of that.
Yeah, and you nailed it on the head there. It was a very, very hard system to develop for.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason we haven't got PS3 games on the PS5 today, because
Exactly.
they're Blu-ray. So in theory, they shouldn't be much different to a PS4 or PS5 disc, but unfortunately they are, and that's why we haven't got them on the PS5.
Was that done in an effort to curb piracy, so it wouldn't be easy to copy the disc? No,
it was Ken Kutaragi came up with what would be the most powerful, system available, which is why it costs so much as well. And so it was very powerful. And when you look at The Last of Us, it's amazing how it runs on PS3. But it just made it really hard to develop for. It was kind of developed to be the most powerful, not the easiest or most efficient for game developers.
That was the game I was going to bring up when you said Metal Gear Solid runs brilliantly. I was going to say, look at The Last of Us on PS3.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember when I first got that, like I was saying, I'm not a big Last of Us fan, but I remember loading that up thinking, wow, this is the future.
Yeah.
Like I'm now in next generation, where even playing PS5 games today, I don't load up a game and I don't think this is next gen. I'm sort of like, this is kind of like my PS4. It's not much of a difference.
Yeah, I agree. There's some, I completely agree. So there's some times when you look at a game where it just looks like, okay, this is amazing, can never get better. I remember thinking that when I saw Shenmue 2 for the first time on Dreamcast. And yeah, Last of Us, definitely just incredible on the PS3.
Demon Souls, I did have that experience on PS5. I did think this is the PS5. Unfortunately, apart from like Ratchet and Clank, I haven't had another game that's sort of jumped out and went, this is next gen. I still feel like I'm playing on a PS4.
Yeah, even Horizon Forbidden West. I've started it. I've got pretty far, but I haven't finished it. It didn't grab me like like some games.
I brought this up in previous podcasts, but I don't like the fact that Sony and Microsoft are still making games for older systems.
Yeah.
And like they're still making these older games, meaning there's got to be limits behind these games. They can't use the PS5 and the Xbox Series X's full power to their capacity, where for the PS3, they were happy to bring out a game that was going to struggle on that system, knowing that we've got the most advanced systems out there. We're going to try and make games for them.
Exactly. I think they want the money, isn't it? The PS4 audience.
I read somewhere, I forget the title, but they're now developing a Switch version of a game, which is only going to make the game less advanced, because to run on a Switch as well, a game, it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
I understand that they want to sell more copies, but I'm sure if one developer went, we're going to make a AAA game that only works on RTX 3080s, PS5 or Series X's, people would be like, that's what I want to play.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Definitely. That's what God of War Ragnarok should have been, really. Especially coming out like more than 2 years into the system's life. It's, you need exclusives.
Yep, that should have been a system that went, I'm going to buy a PS5 because I want God of War.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, it's that awkward silence.
I think Sony have realized that they're going to sell PS5s regardless.
Yeah.
And they're at the point now where they're like, we don't have to do it. We're making all this extra money with PS4 sales. Let's just keep milking it as long as we can. And look at companies like Rockstar. Like, You throw money at people, they're going to take the money. Unfortunately.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why I think the PS3 generation was so interesting as well, because it was such a different Sony. They were so open and up for having fun and making fun of themselves. You know, like compared to now, where it does feel a bit just too business. You know, too business like. Whereas you had like Kevin Butler and stuff, and they were just more fun back then and doing more interviews and more open, which I really liked about that generation.
You're right. Some of the ads probably wouldn't even make it on screen these days, but
Yeah,
it was more fun. And not just that, like the library had so many AAA games on the PS3.
Yeah.
You could probably go through the system. There's 1,200 odd games. There would be 400 or 500 AAA games. If not AAA, they're at least like AA, where a game's tried to copy a Call of Duty or something like that. Or if you look at the PS4, they're putting out like 90s PC games, and they're happy to put them out.
So much shovelware on the PS4. It's achieving Wii status in that effect.
Probably not that bad. Probably.
But but you know, Figsy's right. We've talked about this before. They're just putting out all these limited run, for example.
Yeah.
They put out these tiny little, you know, oh, look at me, I'm 8-bit. I'm an 8-bit game on a fucking PS4. And it's just crap. It's crap. I mean, not to mention all of limited runs other crimes, but they're famous for just, you know, making these little 8-bit. Oh, look at me, I'm retro. And it was started on the PS3 with 3D Dot Heroes. I've said this before, and it just turned into a trend, and we can't shake that trend. You know, give me a game that looks like a PS4 game. You know what I mean? Give me a game.
I'm guilty of buying far too many games from Limited Run and East Asia Soft for the Vita that are just like that. And you know it as well. It's like you buy it and think this is a 50 on Metacritic. This is, it's like if I play it, it'll be done in 2 hours. For me, I just still bought them. But it is frustrating, and I just don't understand it sometimes. Where you see some of these games actually released retail as well. Some of these really small indie games that almost feel like they have no business in being released in that way. How did they have a market to do that when some of the other bigger or better kind of indie or AA games don't get physical releases? I don't really understand how that works.
No,
that's why we're moving backwards. I'm feeling like I remember in high school, I'm a little bit younger than you guys, but playing Flash games. And now that these games are like what I was playing back in the early 2000s. Like,
yeah.
They're not making new things. Like, at least, even on PS2, every game was a new game. You know, today you don't get new games. You get remakes of games. There's a release that came out recently. I'm just going to jump up my Discord channel to find it.
For what system?
PS4 game. Sorry, I'll be a second, guys.
No worries.
I want to talk about
hold on, I got to include this comment from the chat. AJ says, shovelware like Arab cards. Have you seen this game, Sandeep?
No, I haven't heard of this one.
No, it's a PS4 game. It's I guess it's a Middle Eastern exclusive, and it's Arab drift cars, and the cover looks like a knockoff of GTA. It's got the same GTA font, and it's a horrible mess. And from what I heard, and from what I've seen in the playthroughs, it's just wonky garbage. But
oh wow, and you can get all the trophies in 5 minutes.
And but the game, how much is it going for? Figsy, what's the price tag on?
I think people are selling on eBay for like $200. You know, it's
that's crazy. What is it? A limited release or is it a retail?
No, only released in UAE.
Wow.
And Saudi Arabia in places, at least as we know. Maybe more copies going to show up soon, but
yeah, well.
Oh wow, it looks terrible.
But yeah,
the game I was thinking of was Gungrave Gore, which was a PS2 game, Gungrave, and it was a good game on PS2. Well, they've just brought it out on PS4, and people in my Discord have all picked it up and they're playing it. Well, they're all saying it's like a PS2 game that hasn't been updated once.
Oh,
you know,
man.
if you played it on PS2, you're going to have a good time. But if you didn't play it on PS2, you're going to load this up and you're going to be like, "What am I playing? Like, this is a $90 game in Australia, and it's a PS2 title, and they're releasing this, and they're actually allowed to do that. It shouldn't be right, you know. There should be regulations where if you're going to release a game like that, it's half price.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it feels like the collectors are a bit taken advantage of at times, where they know that there's some people who will buy it, and it's almost just targeting those people who are just going to buy it for the collection, which is kind of a shame.
You just got me thinking of full set PS4 limited run collectors. I've got a friend doing that, and he regrets it.
Yeah,
and he's at the point now where he's 500 games in, he can't stop.
Oh man,
so he's basically, limited runs puppet until they stop.
Damn. Yeah, and I know I was like that as well for a while. It was I can't remember the name of it. It was one game which when they put it on for sale, and I literally thought to myself, I have this game digitally. I don't like it. Why am I doing this? Why am I buying this just for the sake of it? And so at that point I stopped. And then it was like it's kind of freeing a little bit, because then I only bought what I wanted to buy and not just everything.
Which is actually good. I'm doing that now, and there's probably like 100 limited run games that if they just released those, you would look at the set like, wow, that's an amazing company. Like you got Celeste, you've got Saturday Morning RPG, Firewatch. There's like so many amazing titles out there. Salt and Sanctuary, Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that shovelware has just ruined the library for me and so many others.
Yeah, agree. It seems like they're all of the limited run companies or limited print companies are doing, have done that as well. I don't think any of them are perfect. They've all kind of picked games that are kind of, 60s in Metacritic, and it just spoils the library. It does spoil the collection for anyone collecting it.
Ironically enough, the only company I actually buy all the releases for are limited rare games for the.
Oh yeah, okay. I got the last one, Demon Slayer, and I ordered it just because I saw it was on Twitter available. So I wasn't even sure if I'd even get anything, and then it turned up like a year later, and it's like, oh, okay, it's here. I'm kind of glad that I moved house as well, so I must have had the forethought to put the right address in as well. So I was kind of glad it came.
No email, no confirmation,
nothing. Yeah,
shows up out of the blue.
I ended up ordering Tamishi, and it was the one game I've actually sold from my collection. Like I'm a hardcore collector, but for me, having a game on the shelf that's $2,500 that isn't a good game, that's just a shitty flash game, I'm selling it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
It's not Pokemon or Castlevania or Final Fantasy or something I love. It's just crap.
I saw on Twitter you managed to get Symphony of the Night recently.
Yeah, that was
awesome.
Absolute shock. Like one of my pickups of my entire life. So Holy Grail for my PS1 collection. I had a list of 4 titles that I didn't think I'd ever get, and it was one of them. So it's off the list now, and I'm looking at those other 3 games like I'm coming for you.
Nice.
Oh, there's the awkward silence again.
I had a couple of questions written down. So, Sandy, what are you playing at the moment?
So I'm kind of jumping into a lot of different games. So because I'm trying to write about different PS3 games and take screenshots of them, I tend to just kind of jump into different games. Like I was playing Deadpool on PS3 recently, which actually is really fun, really good, a good game. I know it didn't do that well on reviews, but I thought it was really cool actually. And again, graphics are amazing for that game, and that's the PS3 version, not the PS4 version. It was really impressive, I thought. But kind of my almost standard game that I'm a little bit addicted to is Destiny 2. So
oh man,
it's kind of I'll play everything else, but then Destiny 2 is kind of the comfort game that I'll just go back to when I'm bored or just kind of like sitting in bed or something.
Nice.
Dude, I put in a good 2 years into Destiny 2.
It's so good. It's so good. And I you didn't even have to buy the expansions. There's just so much content for free now. But then I did buy the expansions because it was like, you know, I almost felt guilty. It's like I've played this for so many hours and haven't given them any money. Like I should give them a little bit, I guess. So I bought the Witch Queen expansion.
Are they still updating that thing?
Yeah. There's the new season is out, Lightfall. But so funnily enough, and you know, this I may lose all my gamer credibility when I say this. I still am playing Destiny 2 on Stadia. So that's kind of my platform for Destiny 2, which it just works so well. Like I've got this kind of handheld called the AYN Odin, which is an Android handheld. It's just amazing for streaming games. And I'm just playing Destiny 2 on Stadia all the time.
I thought they killed Stadia.
It's dying. It's January something. It's when it shuts down.
Oh man!
Are you able to then get your save file onto PlayStation or something like that?
Yep, it can. It's transferable to Steam or PlayStation, so it's fine. I'll just keep playing it until it dies, and then I'll have to try and figure out. Well, that's the problem though, because it's so convenient to play on the handheld. I don't know if I'll end up even playing it on the PS5 because I've got it downloaded, but I've never even turned it on. PS5.
I understand that. You guys might have heard a story about a Stadia player on Red Dead Redemption who had like over 2,000 hours logged into the game.
Yeah.
He was a YouTuber. And anyway, Rockstar actually got his save file and they've put it over onto PC, and now he's able to continue playing, which is awesome.
Nice. That's good. That's really good.
I know what you mean by comfort game. I just played PUBG before we jumped on here.
Nice.
Every now and again, Figsy will come and join me, but he's I don't like playing with Figsy. He's not.
I used to play competitively, so if you play like that, you kind of can't play casually.
Yeah,
We'll be looting, and I'll be trying to fight people, and Will's like, "I'm just over here looting."
Dude, my favorite thing about the game is the shopping aspect. I like to go shopping. I like to dress up my gun, but anyway,
Hey, Sandeep, you said you're playing Deadpool. Have you seen the Easter egg in the manual?
Oh no, I haven't. I don't think I've got the manual in the thing. I don't think I've even opened it up. I'll check it out.
Check it out. There's an Easter egg inside the manual.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'll take a look.
And for everyone watching, if you've got Deadpool on PS3, have a look at your manual.
All right. Cool. I ended up getting Deadpool. I've got, I think, all the Spider-Man games on PS3 and Wolverine as well.
Nice.
But still got a few more of the kind of the Marvel superhero games I need to get. But
Captain America.
Thor as well, Iron Man. There are a few. I didn't play any of them back then, apart from the Spider-Man games. So I've got a few to kind of catch up on and really kind of get into.
Captain
America. You're playing your playing games to the book. I was mentioning before that we got a Facebook group that started a few years ago called PS3 Collectors. When we first started the group, we used to do a thing every month, and it was monthly themes. So we would do like a fighting theme or a horror theme or something.
Okay.
Well, part of that theme, I would incorporate playing a game every day and then talking about that game. So I think I played like 30 fighting games 1 month, and then different genres. So through that, I ended up playing like 200 or 300 different PS3 games. It's
awesome.
Cool to be able to see so many different games of the system, which I'm sure you're doing right now.
Yeah, definitely, and it is just such a cool library of games. Where I can, I've been trying to download them just because it's easier to have it all in one place. But the PSN was so rubbish. It's so bad. And I don't know if you guys have tried downloading anything for the PS3. It takes so long, even for like a 1 gig file can take like a good half an hour to download, and then a 20-minute installation as well. It's like that system was really was kind of the early when it came to kind of the digital age. It's a bit out of date now.
I was going to say,
you're going to play Gran Turismo, put it on, and then go to bed.
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say, aren't you having any troubles downloading or getting digital games on the PS3, or because a lot of people have to do a workaround?
I think this is the kind of it's now realizing or dawning on me how good PlayStation Plus was, the old PlayStation Plus with the monthly games. Because so many games are in my library that I redeemed. So things like BioShock Infinite, Remember Me, Resident Evil. I didn't pay for these games myself, but they're all in my library through PS Plus. And so it's been so cool kind of going back into looking at my download list and having all these games there and thinking, okay, perfect. It's like I've got BioShock Infinite in disc, but I can just download it here, and it just makes it easier having like say 80 games on my PS3 ready to go.
I think I got a reason why PS Plus used to be so good.
Yeah.
Because on the PS3, it was free to play online. So to get people to actually sign up to Plus, they really had to promote it with good games. Because why else would you get it? Where today, they don't need to put good games out. Because if you want to play all your multiplayer games, you need PS Plus. So it's kind of like they have a monopoly now, and they don't have to give us as good titles.
I don't think I even redeemed last month's games. I was one of these idiots that when they were bringing out the new PS Plus, sorry about that. When they brought out the new PS Plus, I kind of got 2 years worth of the old version because it was going to upgrade. So I'm kind of stuck with them now for 2 years. But it's like the games have just been really mediocre. It's not been impressing me at all.
I ironically only have PS Plus, so I can occasionally play games with Will.
Nice.
I don't have any of the tiers. I just got the base one. Because I would say I'm more of a collector than I am a player. I just like to see them on my shelf. It makes me happy.
I
know that
feeling.
And having the having it digital, I always feel like I'm missing something. It's a fact. It's a fight I often have with my girlfriend because she's more of a player than I am, and she wants. Let me give you a little setup here. I play downstairs. She plays upstairs. Okay. I play in the living room. She plays in the bedroom. She wants, and when I got to go to bed, and she's staying up until all hours of the night because we have different schedules. She goes downstairs and plays. She doesn't want to pull out a disc, take it downstairs, put it in the machine. No, she just wants to be able because just be able to switch accounts and just jump into it, and it makes sense, and I can't argue with it. But at the same time, I want the damn game on my shelf, and even though I'm not going to play it. So it's a constant tug of war between us.
I have that problem just with myself. So recently, I wanted to play Bravely Default on the Switch, Bravely Default 2 on the Switch. I had the cart upstairs, but I thought, I'm going to have to go get it and then put it into my Switch, and then I'm going to have to put the other cart away. I thought, I'm just going to buy it digitally. And just even though I had it, I bought it again, which is just stupid. It's really, and I knew I was being dumb when I did it, but I thought, it's just convenient.
How much did you drop on the digital version? It
was on sale, so I didn't feel as bad. It was like £25 or something.
So it was 25 pounds is what it costs not to walk upstairs.
pretty much, which I know is ridiculous. But I've got this. I'm getting into silly details, but I've got this Switch case, which kind of is one of those grip cases.
Oh yeah.
So swapping games out means taking the case off.
Oh,
and it's just too much hassle. It's like it just makes me want to play digital only on Switch because I can't be bothered to take the games out of it.
$25. There is a rebuttal to that point. Is your copy sealed?
No, it's not. Oh. It's not.
No excuses then.
Because they got you do when you play a Switch game, you can redeem those points, and so it's like it'll be worth like 40p when you redeem it, but you put the cart into the Switch. You redeem the points straight away. And so that's why I tend to open the Switch games and redeem the points and then like do something stupid like buy digitally as well.
I keep mine sealed, I'll be honest. If I get it sealed, I keep it sealed these days.
Yeah.
Really? Oh man. No, I find myself opening up more and more games these days. And so it's funny when my girlfriend buys me a game for a gift, her first question, are you gonna open it? Are you gonna open? Maybe. I don't know. When I get around to it.
Yeah.
But no, I am opening up games more and more these days. And that's okay. It's a struggle as a collector, but it's okay. That the games are supposed to be played, or at least that's what she keeps telling me. Hopefully she's not listening at work.
I'll be honest, I'm actually opening less and less these days. I think I'm playing less than I used to. Because I went through a stage of playing so many games. On my PSN, on my PlayStation, I've almost got like 700 games played. So these days, I'm really only playing a few games. I'm going back and playing a lot of games that I have played, which I enjoy. So maybe it's just a comfort thing these days. I'm buying less and less new games as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I think Marvel Midnight Suns was the one the exception where I kind of felt I just really wanted it. But otherwise, I'm trying to avoid buying things and just trying to clear a bit more of the backlog as well.
Is Midnight Suns not like a card game?
Yes, yeah, it is.
I
It's
think
different. It's tries to be like a little bit like XCOM in terms of tactical and everything. And there's obviously placement of you and the enemies, but it's really good so far. I'm only about maybe 3 or 4 hours in, but I'm really enjoying it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I love like Gwent and stuff like that, like odd card games. I might like that one.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really liking it so far.
The last card game I played on a PlayStation, PS1 actually, it was a Yu-Gi-Oh game, Forbidden Memories, and
yes, such a good game.
You played that?
Yeah, I've got it. I love that game.
I picked up. I found a copy in the wild probably about a year ago. I started playing it. Nice. Yes, there it is. Is yours a double case?
Yeah,
well,
no, it's single, the power one.
Yeah, for some reason here is a double case and it only had one disc, because the manual was so damn thick. But yeah.
Well, we got the bigger cases, so
yeah, I know. Yeah. Weird. No, but yeah, that's the last card game I played. I don't know. Hopefully, I know I got some things under the tree. Maybe I'll play. Maybe I'll open them. Maybe I won't. My girlfriend's gonna be upset on Christmas morning. I opened it up. Oh, thanks. Just put it away.
Put it on the shelf. Yeah.
It is what it is. Oh man. We Sandy, here we have a segment where we like to assign our guests, and we do it ourselves, a little piece of homework. We kept it simple today, and the Figsy came up with the homework. Figsy, what's our homework assignment for today?
What's your favorite PlayStation game?
Favorite PlayStation? All of them? Out of all of them?
Why not?
All right.
It's something that, like we'll say, it can change depending on the day of the week. There's probably one of 10 games I could have pulled out, but yeah, I'll go first. So I picked a PS3 game because the PS3 is my favorite system. I was going to grab Demon Souls, but today Dark Souls was just looking at me like, I'm your favorite. So I grabbed Dark Souls. And of course, the Prepare to Die edition, because the DLC in this is actually better than the game itself. So yeah, Dark Souls Prepare to Die edition, absolutely amazing. What I love about this is one game that I actually really enjoy watching people play for the first time. I won't spoil it if you haven't played it, but the start of the game, so it doesn't tell you where to go. And so it's to sort of get people to sort of work out this is the wrong way. It is amazing to watch. I absolutely love that. So if you get a chance to watch someone on Twitch play Dark Souls for the first time, I highly recommend it.
I remember when I played Dark Souls. I mean, I love that game. All From Software games I love. But speaking of wrong direction, if you remember it, I went to the Tomb of Giants early and got to a point where I couldn't get through because I didn't have the right item or something. So there was a point where I was locked, and it was a good 3-4 hours to get through, and dying all the time because the enemies were so OP. And then it was like I got to walk all the way back again, and like it was painful. It was painful, but such a great game, and like it really does force you to kind of learn the hard way where to go.
Is that your favorite?
Sorry,
is that your favorite Dark Souls out of the 3?
Yeah, because of the replayability of Dark Souls 1, the others, like your first playthrough, are amazing, but I've played this 50 times. My 50th playthrough is just as good as my first. I remember one of my first playthroughs, I went down the big hollow tree, and I got to the bottom, and then I got cursed, which cut my health in half, and I was stuck down there because I'd gone to the bonfire. So I ended up spending like 10 hours trying to make my way back up this tree. And like by the time I got to the top, I think I needed to have a 2-month break from the game. But it was just, I can remember this experience today, and that was years ago. Like it was memorable. It was awesome.
I've shown a lot of my favorite games on here, but this is the first one I saw, and the first one I grabbed for it when I went to go look at the shelf. But here we are. Afro Samurai. Nice. Yes. Nice. Oh, with slip covers, Figsy. So just so
everyone loves the Slippy.
Yeah, everyone loves the Slippy. It's one of in case you don't know, Sandeep, that's one of Figsy's catchphrases. He has many. No, but I like the game. I love the anime. I love the voice acting. You got Sam Jackson back on this. He's doing what he does, and
Nice.
it's samurai action. You can't go wrong. I love samurais, and Wu-Tang Clan doesn't suck either. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with, as they say. But yeah, there's my choice. Yeah, for a samurai.
I was expecting you to show it, Mari.
I forgot to bring it upstairs. Oh no! All right, maybe next time. What do you got for us, Sandeep? What's your favorite PlayStation game?
So I haven't got the copies upstairs, but I was saying to Figsy before, Last of Us, which I know is a boring choice, but not for the single player, for the factions mode. The multiplayer on The Last of Us was just really surprisingly good, and I didn't play it initially after I played the game. So I played the single player, put it down for ages, and then I just read an article about factions and thought, all right, let's give it a go, and got into it. It completely consumed me. And when the PS4 version came out, I bought it again, didn't touch a single player, but just jumped into factions. It was just such a cool mode and so different when it came to multiplayer because it was slow and tactical and really emphasized teamwork. I really loved that game. If you can still go to the PS4 version, then factions is amazing. Really great multiplayer.
I'm ashamed to say I've started it, but I never finished it. I started it and it became a weepy mess, and I turned it off and left the room. But no, I'll have to revisit it.
I recommend it. Yeah.
I never played factions, but I remember watching people on Twitch play it, and I was really enjoyed watching it, seeing like them work together as a team. And I remember watching it thinking, wow, this is like watching a Metal Gear Solid like type game in online. It was cool. I didn't really like The Last of Us, but the online looked really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was just really, you really have to think about what you were doing. You can't just kind of run in because you will die, but just like really take it slow and carefully, plant some traps. It was just so different and so well made.
God damn it. It's sitting on my shelf, but luckily it isn't sealed, so who knows? maybe I'll throw it on. I'm afraid to try the PS3 version because I understand it's really rough on the system.
I think the online shut down anyway for the PS3. It's only on PS4 still.
Oh, I'm gonna go pop it in.
It's funny you say that because when I first played it on PS3, I remember thinking like, this is modern gaming. Like this is as good as it's getting. Where today you probably play it and you go, wow, this is outdated.
Is there such a big difference between the PS4 remastered and PS3? Is it night and day the difference? If I went to play on PS3, would I be doing myself a disservice?
I don't think so. I think the single player still looks really good in PS3, but it's improved. Obviously, it's better and runs better on PS4. It'll chug a bit. It'll make your PS3 fan go hard.
Oh man, I don't want to do it. My PS3 is my day one PS3, and I don't know. I baby it now. I'll turn it on. I'll play the mini Monopoly game that I downloaded over a decade ago, and then I'll turn it off. Just want to make sure my downloads are still working.
Yeah.
No, but I still got some good. I'm really happy with the. I seen it made some good choices on the PS3 as far as downloads. A bunch of games that have been not discontinued. What's delisted?
Delisted, yeah.
Yeah. So I got Marvel vs. Capcom 2 from back in the day. I still have Scott Pilgrim from back in the day, but then limited run games came out and ruined that for me. So now it's just it's no big deal. But I got the limited run copy sitting on my shelf as well. It's sealed, and I'm not going to be opening it. There's no point.
I wish they'd done a PS3 run of that. That would have been cool.
Yeah. I got the Switch version, but I haven't opened it yet either.
It's weirdly I pulled a Sandeep and I have the digital version on PS4 as well. So, but that was that's different though. That was so I just wouldn't open my sealed copy, and that's so I wouldn't have to go upstairs. I'm sorry to bust your balls. But, shit.
Hey Sandeep, I want to ask you a question. Have you played Tokyo Jungle?
Oh yeah, loved it. Loved it.
Awesome.
And that was a game where, because the Vita was out, I think around time Tokyo Jungle, and so I remember playing. Oh, I think it was, but I remember playing it pretty much completely on remote play on my Vita.
Oh yeah,
So streamed
nice.
from my PS3. It was one of the few games from the PS3 that worked with remote play. So I loved that game. It was awesome, and still I was playing it again to take screenshots a few months ago. It's still a really good game, really fun.
One of my top 5 PS3 games, and
Yeah, it's
I tell
awesome.
everyone about it because it's such a unique experience. Like, there's no games like that.
What I recently, funnily enough, that game came to I was looking at recently because I wanted to see if there was. I read there was a physical version of Fat Princess for the PS3, and so there's a best of PlayStation Network that came out in the US with Fat Princess, Tokyo Jungle, Sound Shapes, and something else, which never came out here. So I didn't even know about that. So I've been trying to hunt down a reasonable price copy of that because
I'll
that's
show
like
you
4
something
great games.
interesting if you want a cheaper copy.
Oh, okay.
Is he gonna pull out some Japanese stuff?
I think so.
I don't
But
know
I think
if
the Japanese one's only got 3 games compared to the US one, which had 4.
I'm trying to think what the 4th game was on there. Fat Princess, Sound Shapes.
When
Well, just
Vikings
looking at it.
attack.
Yeah, Vikings. I think it was
That's it. Yes, that's
Yeah,
it.
so you're correct. So the Japanese version doesn't come with Tokyo Jungle.
Yeah.
So the Tokyo Jungle's the reason that this exploded in price. So you can find this one for like $50, which does include Fat Princess.
Is that
Fat Princess is another amazing title.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's awesome.
Is that a Chinese copy right there?
Yeah, this is the Chinese English version. I
want to find the American version and at a fair price because Sound Shapes was an awesome game as well. And like that was something on Vita where I felt like it really deserved the physical release on Vita. And then Tokyo Jungle, I love. Fat Princess, I love. It seems like the perfect disc to have. So I need to find a copy of that.
It was one of the few games that went from $30 to like $300 overnight. So once the PS Store shut down, that's when that shot up in price.
Yeah.
And it went. I've never seen a game increase so quickly. It quickly then dropped down to like the $100 level once people realized, okay, not worth $300.
Yeah.
No,
definitely worth picking up. One of my favorite packs of the PS3.
And
ironically enough, it's volume 1, but we never got a volume 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the Japanese Tokyo Jungle in English or is it all in Japanese?
Unfortunately, the Japanese version doesn't play in English, but you can get it on the store still.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I still got mine. That one's on there. I got Fat Princess, but no, it's too bad. I would like to see a list. I've seen a short list or an abbreviated list of games from Japan that play in English. I mean, but I'd like to get a full list because a game in Japan that we didn't get, or we didn't get over here in America or in PAL land. But do you have such a list, Bigsy?
I don't, but I do have a way to sort of tell if a game plays in English. This is a really weird way, but when I was collecting, I found if a game had an English version and it had a release in Korea, then the Korean version would always play in English. However, only if there was an English version available. And it never actually said it on the case, never said it on the spine. I tested this out with Everybody Golf 6. I wanted an English copy, and there was only Japanese copies online. Couldn't find the English one, but I had this theory about Korean games. So I spent $100 to buy the Korean version, popped it in. It's got all the trophy support, played in English. And let a few collectors know we tested it out with a few more games. Every single one we tested out with had the English version. Aquanaut's Holiday, a few more I can think of. Yeah, so a little bit interesting, but if you ever find a Korean version of the game, if there is an English version of it, the Korean version has English input.
Cool. It's good to know.
Unfortunately for Japan, it is random. There's plenty of Japanese games that there's an English version available and the Japanese version will play in English. There's plenty of games that won't. Resident Evil, they all play in English. There is a list on the internet, but I don't think it's complete.
Well, the menus aren't in English on the Resident Evil games, just the dialogue, from what I found. The what was it? Survival selection You play it. Yeah, the cutscenes, everything. When they're talking, it's in English. But no, the menus are in Japanese, and it's just it's a pain in the ass. But you can play it if you get that Google Translate app and just hold it up to the screen, like I said. But that's a
I've
pain.
tried to do that before. It's not the best way to play.
And and that's why I sold most of my Japanese games. I'm not gonna do this shit. But
yeah.
No,
I originally did Tales of Syberia with the English translation open up on the computer, playing Japanese version on PS3.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Too bad they can't. Too bad you can't buy in English. Can you imagine you could buy English patches for Japanese games? Shit.
Oh my god.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
It would open up just a whole new again, the Japanese got all the cool stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't speak Japanese.
In theory, that shouldn't be too hard to do because like YouTube can do that with translating to every language. So surely it wouldn't take that much. But Sony probably aren't going to make too much money on it, so they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Hell, I'd buy a patch for $5. Shit, if I had the game, and then people.
I'd even buy subtitles.
Yeah.
Well, I heard that. All right, guys. Excuse me. I'll be right back. After these messages, I'll be right back.
I had a couple of questions from chat.
Sure.
Sandeep. Why not? Was asking, are you an Aussie living in the UK?
No, born and bred in the UK, always in London.
Maybe it's not the strong UK accent, which...
Yeah, probably. I think I've grown up watching too much American TV.
Famous Graves down under said, glad you followed up this suggestion, and my friend TJ suggested to get you onto the podcast, so I'm really glad he did. When your book first came out, actually, we spoke about the book on the podcast, and everyone got super excited. And,
cool.
And since that, we've reached out, and here we are. So,
awesome. No, I'm really glad you did. It's been really fun, actually, joining you guys.
Yeah, it's been awesome to talk to you, man. And again, thanks for coming on. Just seeing if there's any more questions in chat. And if you do have any questions, guys, feel free to add them in the chat. Oh, yeah, there's so many Camco RPGs.
Oh, God, yeah.
You're aware of Camco RPGs?
Yeah, and I think I have far too many of them on the Vita versions. It's, yeah, I know.
I was originally going for a full RPG set. I didn't want a full PS4 set, but I wanted every RPG for the system because I'm like, I'm getting no shovelware. I'm just going to get great titles. But after buying so many Camco games, he's just like, this is just crap. Like,
I know. It just kind of recycled. Ugh, yeah, I know. Far too many of those.
I call them iOS RPGs or mobile RPGs, and that's really what they are. They're mobile.
And I think they were, isn't it? Some of them were on iPhone. I'm pretty sure they were.
Yeah, a lot of them have been like early 2010s, and now they're getting physical copies. It's all
yeah.
Unfortunately, like we said before, Limited Run have got a market for it. They're not going to stop because they're making money. So why stop when you're making money, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So do I need to stream myself playing Dark Souls? Chaos, if you're going to stream playing Dark Souls, I'll watch. So send me a message.
It's an awesome game. Do it. It's just brilliant. It does hold up today.
Yeah, even the PS3 version. But you can, of course, get it on PS4. You can even play it on the Switch. So
yeah. Dark Souls 2, I was playing that again to take screenshots. It definitely is the weakest of the three. You can still kind of feel it, even in the early kind of first 5-6 hours. It's like it just doesn't have the same feel, same kind of stickiness as the other games.
Did you play the regular version or with the DLC?
It was the DLC version, actually, I was playing now.
Because that version actually makes the base game so much better. It adds so many different things in it. Like, it gives you all those extra pursuer fights and all the extra invasions and different things like that. But the base version of Dark Souls 2 is really basic. It's crap. Yeah.
That's what I played originally. But I don't think I've got far enough in it the second playthrough to hit those bits. So maybe I'll stick with it and try and get there.
There actually are some parts of that game which I wish they would bring to other Souls games, like the bonfire aesthetics, where you can go to a bonfire and make it New Game +2 and New Game +3, and it's really good for like grinding if you're stuck on a certain point. But they took that out for all the other games in the series.
Yeah.
Chaos is saying my PS3 will freeze on Billstown, so I've never been able to finish The Last of Us on PS3.
Oh, damn. Okay. Need to get a new PS3.
Yeah, exactly. You were saying before you haven't actually finished writing the book yet. Now, how much have you got left?
So I am up to the end of 2009 in terms of the years. And I think so I've got to do the rest of 2010, 11, 12, 13, and then kind of, a bit beyond the kind of closing elements. And then in terms of retrospectives, I've got to do Dark Souls, Demon Souls still, Uncharted, Last of Us. What else is it? There's a few, there's not many, but there's a few big ones which I've kind of saved for the end, retrospectives. But I'd say more than half of the book is done already.
Awesome.
And it's the way I work is I'll almost spend like about a week or two planning out all the chapters. And then it's like, and I've got this massive document where basically it's like, so there'll be a chapter on the PlayStation hack, and then I'll have links to like about 20 different articles that were kind of relevant or had good information in them. And then I'll just kind of like clip these out. So this document is just like this massive, like 200-300 pages of things that I need to be thinking about when I'm actually writing the chapter. So I've got all of that ready up to 2011. So now I just need to write it.
You got me thinking of when I was at uni doing assignments and like,
yeah.
All right,
yeah,
here's
exactly.
a point. Here's all the articles that I can find information on. I'll get back to it at some point.
Exactly. Yeah.
You made me think of one thing. You said you're up to like 2009. And what's really interesting, I found with the PS3, like the Vita, is the Western audience sort of stopped PS3 games around like 2014-15 mark, but Japan kept it going. A lot of PS4 titles also got PS3 and Vita releases over in Japan. So many of them, actually, like Tales of Berseria, for example. Not many more are going to come off the top of my head, but it was really like 2017 that we were seeing the PS3 sort of slow down in Japan.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome system.
I had a question for you, Sandeep. Do you find any games on the Vita superior to their console counterparts?
I think only in terms of convenience, having it portable. So something like Spelunky, where you can just be able to take it and play it anywhere. That's the real kind of draw, or like Rogue Legacy, where otherwise being forced to sit in front of a screen is just a bit more limiting. Whereas I think the portable aspect does really kind of add value for me anyway. But otherwise they play the same. So like Rogue Legacy, I don't feel like there was any difference in playing it between PS4 and Vita, but just having it portable really helped.
Yeah, because I'm like thinking it's the games that came out on PS3. If the Vita was version was any better or pretty much the same.
I think for the big games, it just wouldn't compare to the console. I mean, like Need for Speed Most Wanted, amazing on the Vita. Really, it looked amazing. It ran really well, but it was obviously they reduced the amount of traffic in the game to get it to run on Vita, so it was kind of held back a little bit. But it's still really good and really fun. But I think it's apart from indie games, you probably wouldn't get anything that was kind of better or on the exactly the same level as the PS3 or PS4.
Are there any on the flip side of that question? Are there any games that are just terrible on the Vita versus their console counterparts?
There was Ratchet and Clank Q-Force. I don't know if you remember that one. It was the tower defense game that was on PS3 as well.
Yeah.
That one, just so much slowdown on the Vita. It didn't feel great to play that. I did play it, but it was just it was definitely held back by being on the Vita. And Borderlands 2, it's I still played the whole game on the Vita, like 50, 60 hours or whatever it was, but there were crashes and there was slowdown, but I just kind of played through it and still loved it.
We even got like Call of Duty title on the Vita. It was exclusive.
Yeah, Black Ops Declassified, which was really bad for the single player, but the multiplayer was still a lot of fun. It was, you know,
Okay. I've only heard bad things about that, so it's nice to hear a little bit of positivity coming out of it.
People are still on it. I was just testing it out a few weeks ago. Like I found a game in less than a minute. So people still love playing online for that game.
That's really cool, actually. Less than a minute on a Vita online Black Ops game. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Is Ratchet & Clank Q Force, is that a PAL exclusive? I don't.
No,
yeah, it was called. It had a different name.
Yeah.
It was called G something. It's not coming to me, but it's the same game. It's just got a different name in North America.
Yeah, Q Force was the PAL name, but yeah, it was. There was another name for it in the US.
I'll pull it up.
Q Force. Not a big Ratchet and Clank fan. All their names are
Full Frontal Assault.
That's it.
There we go. Full. All the names are like tongue in cheek.
Sexy.
Full frontals. My balls on your face. Ratchet and Clank. I don't know. Whatever. But
so like they're trying to be crude for kids.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to be edgy.
Hey, what about games like I know there was some rugby games on the Vita and like FIFA 14 and things like that. How did they play?
So actually, FIFA played really well on Vita.
Interesting.
So I think it was they had the regular. It was first one was called FIFA, and then it was FIFA 13, 14, 15. After FIFA, the first one, they upgraded it to FIFA 13, but then 14 and 15 were basically the same game as 13, just reskinned. And so they were the legacy versions, they were called. But they ran really well. It was actually a really fun game to play.
I find that's interesting because the Switch version doesn't really hold up with the PS4, PS5, Xbox One version to the point where FIFA actually comes out cheaper price on the Switch, brand new than all the other games, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
you can buy it FIFA 23 for like $29 on the Switch, where it's like $79 on all the other systems.
Oh, okay. So admittedly, I'm not a big FIFA player, but I only played it on the Vita and bought it on the Vita because I was collecting for it. But it felt really good to me. So I can't compare it to what the PS3 had or the PS4, but I thought it was really good on the Vita.
That's good to hear. I didn't get much into the Vita, but I played a lot of PSP games.
Okay.
And I know the rugby games on PSP were pretty much unplayable. It's good to hear that they made them good.
There's 2 rugby games on the Vita. Those are sealed still upstairs. So
they're expensive games, those ones.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of them was I think they were both only PAL. So that helped as well. I think I got them when they came out in the UK, bought them new, but then they went like up in price quite a lot.
The Australian version's like hundreds of dollars these days. I remember always looking out for Vita collectors for the Wallabies Rugby Challenge on the Vita.
Yeah. I think I've got that upstairs.
Vita hunting is pretty hard, and Vita's also shot up through the roof in price, from what I understand. People are always, because I used to, every time I go out to a video game store, I got a small circle. I'd say, "Hey, I'm in the video game store. Do you want anything? Well, look for this, look for that." And they always Ricky Andres always, "Well, look, what do they got on Vita? What do they got on Vita?" And but no, it's there's always like maybe 3 or 4 games, and it's always the same 3 or 4 games, and then it's just Vita.
Be
a Lego game, maybe Little Big Planet. There won't be much else.
I played the PSP
for a good game, and that's it.
I played PSP for a good bit, but I never picked up a Vita. I do know I picked up PSP and I tried to get online on the just to get online with it, the browser, and it just wouldn't work at all.
Oh yeah.
Does the Vita browser still work?
It works. It's okay, but it's still not. I mean, it was because the Vita came out in 2012 or 2011 in Japan, and by then we all had phones that could go on the internet so quickly and easily, and the Vita browser was so slow and rubbish. It's like, why even put it in if you're not going to be able to compete with what phones can do? even with the camera for the Vita, it's like they had a front and back camera, like 1.3 megapixel, I think, something really rubbish. It's like, why waste the money and put that in? They should have just put in like, 4 gigs of storage instead, so that then people wouldn't complain about the memory card so much.
Exactly. Just don't put it in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty Vita ignorant, so I know there's 2 models, one with one screen supposed to be better than the other.
That's right.
Was one an OLED screen or?
Yeah, that was the original model, was the OLED screen version.
That's the
and
1001?
Sorry?
That's the 1001?
Yes. Yeah. And then they brought out the Slim in 2013. And that one took away the OLED. But I actually prefer the Slim because it uses a micro USB charger, which was always just more convenient than trying to bring the proprietary cable along with me.
And that's great about the Switch. Like, look at the DS and the PSP, and not just owning them, but like reselling them, or even just like having kids. Can you bring? I used to work in a pawn shop, so they would bring things in. Can you charge this for me? It's like you're bringing a DS Lite, and it's like, oh, we haven't got the charger. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you bring in a Switch, you just plug it into a USB-C, and it's easy.
Exactly.
Kids
Nintendo were annoying for that. I've got so many different chargers for like the Game Boy Advance, the Game Boy Micro, and then the DS, and then 3DS. It was like, just have one cable.
Hats off to the future and the European Union for changing the laws and making all companies do USB-C, because it's going to make their lives so much easier in the future.
Exactly. We need that.
That was one thing I liked about the PSP is you could charge it off of the controller charger from the PS3, and this you could plug it into the top on the PSP as opposed to using the plug on the bottom right corner. I don't
think I ever tried that. Interesting.
Oh yeah, it's the same. I don't know. It's not a mini USB. What the hell is it called?
The PS4 controllers have got the same thing, and you can charge them on the actual stand.
Yeah.
But it uses the other charging port, not the USB one, which is interesting. I wasn't even aware that was a thing until I was trying to plug it in. I'm like, oh, it goes in there.
Yeah, because I've seen pictures of the charger, how it worked. It was interesting when I first saw it.
Yeah, hold on, so you can see
Okay.
the
micro USB one.
No, it's not a micro USB. It's a little fatter. It's
the fatter one. Oh yeah.
Okay.
The PS3 controller
PS3
plugs
one.
in. Yeah, the PS3 one. That's what I know it as.
Yeah.
it has a proper name. I don't know.
I'm sure it does. Cool. Well, guys, it's quite late here, so I'm probably going to head to bed. If that's it.
No, you're right, Sandy. It's been absolutely amazing having you on the show.
No, it's been really great joining you guys. Actually, it's been awesome. Really.
Thanks for coming on,
Sandeep.
Sandeep.
If you want to see more of Sandeep, it's 2Old4Gaming. You're on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, same handle for all of them.
Oh, you got lucky.
I've got links in the description, guys.
Cool. Yeah, thanks so much for having me, guys. Really,
thanks.
It's always good to talk about the PS3, of course. So it's nice to catch up.
Thanks for coming on, and when the book drops, come back on, plug it again. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, definitely.
Love to.
All right, so Sandeep, good night. Figsy, good night. Anything you guys want to add before we say goodbye?
This Sunday, who we got on, Will?
Oh, we have the Lego Dick Building Group. It's a chat group from them and of a bunch of the admins at the PS3 Ain't Dead Facebook group, and we're having 3 of them on there. So this box is gonna be rather crowded next couple of days. So tune in for that. These guys are a bunch of shit talkers. It should be a good time.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Sandeep. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thanks.
Good night.
Thanks for having me, guys.